How's it going, welders on YouTube? So I'm gonna change it up a little bit in this video and go over some of the bad things that come with welding. See, a lot of sites tell you, oh, welding is great because you get paid well and you get to travel, blah, 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 blah. But with the good comes the bad. So without further ado, here are the 5 worst things about welding. Let's get into it. Number 1, no women. Now, for some men, they might actually like that. Others, not so much. Now, see, here's the weird thing about meeting women. It's all about being around them. So if you're a ladies' man and you like the company of women, welding is not the job for you because there's a 97-98% chance that your coworkers will be men. But for all the ladies watching, the whole 3%, if you're trying to meet a man, most likely you're not going to meet them at law school, med school, or the halls of Yale or Harvard. Your next Giga Chad might be wearing a chicken suit at El Pollo Loco. And don't take that from me, take it from the most beautiful man in the world himself.
Were you one of those like mascots outside of El Pollo Loco dressed as a chicken?
Yes, I was, for the grand opening on Sunset and La Brea. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, I was.
So
man's gotta eat.
Okay, the second worst thing about welding are other welders, oddly enough. They can be the most annoying thing and make or break your workday. Now, I've broken down the annoying types of welder into 3 subcategories. There's the A, welder that doesn't want you touching their shit.
Were you in my shop?
No.
Don't touch my shit.
I wasn't touching your shit.
Then there's the B, the welder who touches your shit. Then there's the C, the welder who keeps yelling at shit.
Then, of course, there are the welders.
What the fuck are you looking at?
What?
What are you looking at anyway? We got fucking work to do! Pick up the fucking page! Ain't no fucking Sunday school!
Silence, you fool!
Meet Tim, a builder who's come a cropper after a freaky fall left him well and truly shafted.
I tried to dive over the top of the bars. Of course, managed to land on them.
Construction boss Tim had been supervising his site. With the foundations laid, a series of iron poles had been planted in preparation for building the walls. But Tim's vantage point on a grass verge wasn't secure. The soil gave way. Tim tumbled, spearing his thigh and leaving him floundering like a human kebab.
Might need some help here, lads. A cup of tea first.
Tried bending the bar that was through my leg to see if I could bend that over to get myself down onto the ground. I bent it a bit, but I couldn't get it down. So then I thought, well, all I can do is just hang on to the bar in the middle and just take as much weight as I could and just sort of shout for help, sort of thing.
With a 3-centimetre thick metal rod propelled through his pin, the brave builder was cut free by the fire brigade and rushed to hospital. Although Tim's acting like a man who's merely been pricked by a cocktail stick, his life could be at serious risk. Running up the leg is the femoral artery, through which blood is pumped at a rate of 5 litres a minute. If the steel shaft has torpedoed through the vessel, Tim could be suffering a potentially fatal internal bleed.
Alright, the third worst thing about being a welder is that yes, there are 1,000,001 ways to die. Whether it be from fume inhalation from welding galvanized steel, oxygen depletion in welding in a confined space. And I know the video that you watched, you might wonder, hey, that wasn't a welder. And no, it wasn't. If you saw by the man's story, he was a foreman. A foreman is the least likely guy to get injured on any site. He's the guy who's put in his time and has an office and can eat lunch in an air-conditioned room. And look what happened to the foreman. He got a piece of rebar through his leg. So if the foreman can take an injury like that, yeah, guess what the guy who's crawling in a little hole in welding can take? So yeah, dangerous job. Fourth worst thing about being a welder is that it's a dirty job. And no fancy explanation or video to illustrate that point. It's dirty. The fifth worst thing about being a welder is the stigma behind all blue-collar jobs. Now, the way I look at a welder is we're basically chemists and physicists, but we don't get that title because we didn't go to college and we can't explain what we're doing. But how are we chemists? Well, all the metals that we use are on the periodic table of elements, as are the gases, and every single time we strike an arc, you can argue that that's a controlled chemistry experiment every single time. And you know, when it comes to heat and heat transfer theory, that's a little bit of physics in there. So in my opinion, when it comes to the practical use of science, I believe a welder, a carpenter, an electrician is more engineer than an engineer. But hey, if you disagree, you can disagree with me in the comments down below.
We've declared war on work as a society, all of us. It's a civil war. It's a Cold War, really. We didn't set out to do it, and we didn't twist our mustache in some Machiavellian way, but we've done it. And we have waged this war on at least 4 fronts, certainly in Hollywood. The way we portray working people on TV, it's laughable. If there's a plumber, he's 300 pounds and he's got a giant butt crack, admit it. You've seen him all the time. That's what plumbers look like, right? We turn them into heroes, or we turn them into punchlines. That's what TV does.
All right, that concludes the 5 worst things about being a welder. Obviously, this video was really subjective, but hey, if you're a welder out in the field, let me know down in the comments, what do you think is one of the worst things about being in our industry? Was it the women, or is it the danger? Do you not like travel? Because some jobs require you to travel quite a bit. But yeah, I'd love to hear your comments down below, and peace.